This video is going to hurt a little bit. We're going to go over 10 signs why you will fail as a student athlete. And I guarantee you that 1, 2, maybe a bit more are going to apply to you. Yeah, you, the person watching this. We can all get better and improve on these things. The first sign or reasons why you will fail as a student athlete, or why people do fail, is that you've gotten complacent and you're comfortable with where you are. You know, lots of guys in any sport, they come in, they don't just first year, and two things happen there. You get complacent and comfortable with your position. You start to think that, it's okay because you're just in first year or maybe in second year and it's carrying on, and you're not really pushing. You're scared to compete with the older guys on the team and you're afraid to lose those reps. If you're complacent and okay with not dressing or redshirting, then you will fail as a student athlete. You have to always be working to get the best out of yourself. Doesn't matter which stage you're in, it's okay to go through that. Everyone does. But never be comfortable with where you're at. Always look above you and figure out a way to get to that next level. Although it's easy to look in the future and think that things are going to be great and have a long-term vision, if you're not focused on every day and everything you're doing, you'll never get there. Number 2, this is probably the most popular one. You don't have your priorities straight. You're bad with your time management, whether it's with your sport, school, everything you have on your plate, or the more popular one, you're going out too much and partying. Student athletes are an elite group of people. You can't go out there and be drinking, be doing all the drugs, because for one, it's going to take away from your time. The more time you spend out, the less time you have to work on yourself, get better. And 2, that takes an effect on your body. You can't let it be the main focus, can't let it be your priority, because it's just going to take away from all other aspects and get you off course. Number 3, not putting in extra work. Doesn't matter where you are, whatever is assigned from your team will never be enough. Because if you want to be better than everyone, you can't just be doing the same thing. If it's more film, if it's more lifting, if it's more positional stuff, you got to be doing more to get where you want to be. I recommend subscribing to this channel and checking out some of the film breakdowns we have, especially for our defensive backs out there. And don't just think because you're doing what your team's doing, you're working hard. You're not. Think about your school, your team, how many sports teams there are, how many schools there are across the country, across the world. There is a lot of student athletes out there. So just by doing the minimum, don't think that you're going to get somewhere above. Don't think you're going to reach the next level. You're going to go and do amazing things if you're just doing the minimum. It comes down to the work you put in. Every time you go up in a level, it'll weed out the weak-minded and those who are not really about the work. Number 4, you do not like successful student athletes. You don't like learning from them or hanging around with them. Lots of guys just want to train by themselves and just want to try to figure out it all by themselves. And that's great. But if you got people above you that you could look up to, you could get mentored from, you could train with, study their game, there's a lot you could learn from them, and it'll just fast track you on your route to success. That's where the saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, find another room comes from. Because if you're not surrounded by people who are above you, who could teach you, you'll never be growing at a fast pace. And for example, my mom loves me, but she always tells me that you're working too hard, you're going to outwork yourself. And, she's great, she wants the best for me, but what does she really know about football or working out? You got to make sure you're listening to the right people. And that, they're in the profession like pros, so they can really teach you the lessons they've learned. Number 5, and this one will catch up to everyone if you let it. Not taking care of yourself. Your mental side, sleeping, eating, your body, and making sure that you have a good time. You gotta take a step back every once in a while and be grateful for where you are. Make sure that, you're having a good time, because otherwise, what's the point of even doing it? And one of my favorite ones, still part of number 5, but if you're always injured, you're probably not taking care of yourself. Not getting in the extra lifts, mobility. If you're someone who's injury prone, it's probably on you. You gotta take a nice personal audit, look at your body, and make a plan how to get better. What muscles do you have to get stronger? Where do you have to go more? Where do you have to get more mobile? And where do you have to start working out more? Number 6, you are not coachable. You will not listen to your coaches, to your fellow teammates, because you think you got it all right. And you don't. Always be willing to learn, and you can learn from anyone. Just if you're like a senior player and a rookie comes in, doesn't mean you can't learn something from him. You don't know their experiences, where they've learned from, what they've watched, who they've learned from, all of that. Always think that you can learn something from anyone and be coachable. At Queens, we have our thing called an OKG, our kind of guy, who's driven to graduate, passionate about the process of football, and respectful and responsible. And if you don't fit that culture, you're probably not going to get recruited and you won't make it on the team. Every team has their own culture, but if you don't fit with it, you're going to be bumping heads with coaches, with other players, and it won't work out. Number 7, academics. You're not taking care of yourself in the classroom. So if you're failing your courses, if you're not going to class, not paying attention to school at all, those are some things that you need to improve on. And this one comes down to 3 things. Why are you at school in the first place? You want to just go for football and that's it? Hope you make it to the pros and then get rich, all that? Or do you want to set yourself up for a plan in the future? Do you want to have something to fall back on in case football doesn't work out? 2, you need to pass your classes to be eligible. So don't be there flunking out of classes because you won't be able to play the next year. I've seen it here, other schools. If you're not academically eligible, you can't play, so there's no point. And 3, with academics, make sure you're studying throughout the whole semester. You don't want to have to be popping a bunch of addies to focus by exam time. And guys who do that and just try to cram everything in at the end, it's not good for your mental health or physical. Now, number 8 is going to be a bit contrary to number 7, and that's too much academics. Most of the time, this isn't the case, but where it can apply is if you stop caring about your sport. If it's taking away from your goals as an athlete or your team's goals as a competitor in the league. If you really want to succeed as a student athlete, you got to make sacrifices. So sometimes you might have to miss a class here and there. Sometimes, you might not want to go on that exchange because you got to put in work with the team and all get better together. Make sure you take care of your academics, but don't let it get in the way of your sport. Now, lots of people probably won't like that message and tell you that school comes first, but if you want to succeed as an athlete, the number 9 reason you'll fail as a student athlete is that you stopped improving. Your numbers aren't going up. You can feel your skills not getting better. That is a big sign you will fail because you're either getting better or you're getting worse. It might not show at first, but if you're not getting momentum and consistently getting better, there's guys in the league putting in more work. Your teammates, you're going to be overpassed and you will get exposed eventually. And number 10, the final reason that you'll fail as a student athlete. You don't ask for help. Everyone has problems. We all go through different struggles. If it's time, your mental side, you are not getting what you want in school, in your sport, you're not performing. Everyone has problems, but there are a ton of resources out there to help you. If it's your coaches, your players, your friends, professors, different services on campus, like there's lots of counselors and guidance people that you could talk to. Make sure that you leverage everything you got out there to help you, you use it, and you navigate your way. If you've been watching this, then you know that every Monday we do a weekly challenge. And it's not like you only do it that week, but it's just something to pay extra attention to. So this week, or right now actually, I want you to make a list. Get a pen, get a paper, write down these 10 things, what you do really good, what you're okay at, and what you really need to get better at. Maybe you're not focused on academics enough because it's exam season. Maybe you're too focused on academics because you're missing out on your lifts. You gotta take a look at these 10 things, and there's a lot more that goes into it, but these are 10 major ones. Take a look at these 10 things, figure out where you stand, and figure out your next steps for improving from there. And with that being said, you have the power to make the choice, to choose what you're gonna change, how you're gonna live your life. So if you have not seen it already, check out last week's video, how to take control of your life.